Good morning and welcome to another edition of Dive In with Captain Sean. This is a show that I've been waiting to do for a while. One of my favorite cruising locations, the Amalfi Coast. The people say to me, "If you're going to Europe, where should I charter a boat?" There's tons, of course, tons of great locations, and not to exclude anyone, but Naples, Ischia, Capri, Amalfi. The destinations that we're going to talk about today are some of my favorite, and we're going to have a very special guest, my friend Marcia from Marcia Yachting. I met her years ago when I was running New Vita before she was Starship. Before she was Starship, and before she was even my Sienna. Anyway, a lot of great stuff to discuss today, and as always, we talk about like what are the right yachts to cruise in these different types of areas. Before, I've done shows about Norway and Svalbard and the South Pacific, and was talking about more adventure type yachts. And in like right now, we've got Asteria up in Norway. It's also available for charter. We've got a few weeks available up there. Svalbard's a great place to cruise. Also, another yacht that I've been talk about quite a bit is Dardanella. She's in Panama. Anyway, I'll be doing a Central and South America webinar on her later. But today we're going to look at some of the boats that are in Europe and available for charter right now. And first is Octo. Now, Octo is from ISA Yachts. She is, let me get all the specs right here on her. Where's my spec sheet? She's 66 meters. That's 218 feet for us Americans, with a 34-foot beam. She's really beamy. A lot of room inside. She was refit in 2014 and in 2022, and it's got a crew of 16 to take care of all your needs. Here's some of the photos and toys you have. You can look at the top deck. She's got a lot of deck space, a lot of open space. Little, like, can you call that a hot tub, or what is that? It's a swimming pool, wave pool, hot tub. I don't know, but you can swim in it. Anyway, little docks, interior. And then I always like this feature on some of the boats, the little balconies that come out of the staterooms. Some of the views on that, Sky Lounge. And then this is, I just like the photo, of course, there with the Monaco Yacht Club. Represent. I got my Monaco Yacht Club shirt on as well, too. Big thanks and shout out to the people at the Monaco Yacht Club. Anyway, so if you don't want to charter something that big, you can charter something like this. This is Car, and she's a Riva. She's 26 meter with she can take 8 guests, 4 crew, just real nimble. Can get into a lot of the places that a boat like Octo couldn't get, and she's quick too. So you can get to a lot of these destinations. You can visit. So say if you're like in Capri and it gets windy, you want to go have dinner over in Ischia, you're there before you know it. Really nice, light, bright interior. Great little boat for cruising the Med. So where exactly are we going today? Well, so many great destinations in this area. We're going to go over several of them. Of course, there's more. Hopefully, these will be some of in everybody's top 10. And here's the list. Now, these itineraries that I put together, anybody that's watching this video or wants them, or you can email me or email info@worthavenueyachts.com. We'll more than happy to send you this itinerary with all these great destinations. And joining us today is Marcia from Marcia Yachting. Now, I've got a little cheat sheet here. So Marcia came to Italy about 15 years ago. I think this might be a little dated. It's actually older than, that was back in 2017. She came 15 years ago. She's originally from Toronto, Canada. She graduated in hospitality and tourism in Toronto, then worked for 6 years as a manager. And then 15 years ago, she came to Naples, started working in the shipping business. She worked supporting guests, captains, and crew. She also assisted military ships, aircraft carriers, and then she started her company to service yachts. And she was invaluable to me while I was operating in the Mediterranean. And since, even when I've been back, even if I need any advice, she's always been great and always there on the phone for me. And without further ado, we're going to introduce Marcia.
Hello.
Marsha, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Joining us from your office in Naples.
Yes.
So you can
Based in Naples.
hear the cacophony in the background of all the people doing busy office stuff.
Yeah, no, we have a team working around the clock with the yachts that are here right now and assisting through provisionings, tours, and transfers and dockage and etc.
And that's not like some people I interview and they're like, ah, yes, we're working around the clock, but you really do work around the clock. There was no time that I couldn't call you if I needed something, if I needed something crazy. I remember one time you telling me the story about when the Russian guy wanted the bottle of whiskey that was in Switzerland, so we had to hired a jet for him to get it to him on time. And you walked the pilot, you're like told the pilots to go to this liquor store, pick it up, fly it, and you did the amazing thing. You got it there for the client in time.
Well,
Not
we try to
exactly
do the impossible.
yeah, it's not exactly like bringing the serum to Nome, but bringing the whiskey to the Russians in Capri, same thing. Logistically, the challenges were similar. So today, really happy to have you here with me. I've always wanted to do this with you because you're such a wealth of information. Now, before we get started, just a couple of questions, and this is something that I get from brokers and in questions that I ask as a captain is going into an area, especially that I haven't cruised in a while, and I haven't cruised in this area or in Italy in quite some time. So I know that after COVID came a bunch of new rules and such. So are there any new rules and regulations that we should be made aware of?
Well, this year, what we have to do for the clearance when yachts are coming from outside of the EU, so outside of the Schengen area, the yachts have to be set,
Sanitized.
sanitized, sorry, in regards of the mosquito. So before leaving a port, give you an example in Turkey, the agent in Turkey will have to organize sanification and then send us the certificate so that we can do the sanitation clearance here. These are with yachts and also jets. Jets would have to get in touch with their ground handlers, and they have the schedule right on their website on what they have to do prior to their arrival in Italy. And you do risk that if you don't have these certificates, they will not allow you in. So it's something to check on the website, talk to your agents, whether if I'm the agent that's dealing with yacht or another agent to talk about the sanitation.
So are there any other new rules? Anything else that we need to know? Size restriction, pilotage, anything else that would make cruising difficult where you guys are?
You have to remember there are rules in regards of how to anchor in our area. Give you an example, Ischia, you have to do your permits before anchoring. Also Ventotena. The pilots in Castellammare, if you decide to stay within the 900 meters from the pilot line. Also, there is a new drop off and drop on, pick up and drop off in Amalfi for a moment for the yachts that are in charters over 500 gross tonnage. And then all the rest, like we provide all anchoring rules and regulations to the captains with maps and coordinates to making sure that they know where they're going and how to get there.
Yeah, no, I remember back in the day when I was running a 56-meter Perini, and I just anchored. We'll talk a little bit more about Ischia when we get there. I've got a pretty fun story about the Mezzatori, but I didn't have any permits back in 2004 when I was running the boat there. So when did these permits all come into place? Because this wasn't even in effect back in I think the last time I was there was 2011.
No, it came out probably 2022, 21.
Okay, so fairly recent then.
Yeah, for the Regno di Nettuno, the natural reserve in Ischia, that we have to do the permits that do have a cost, sadly. that it ranges between 150 and 350 euros, where it's a 24-hour pass to anchor out in 3 designated areas, which is Lago Meno, Forio, and Maronti. You're not allowed to anchor anywhere else. It's at your own risk if you decide to anchor in Ischia, especially near the castle Aragonese on the side of the Ischia port. So it's important that the captains understand the areas where you're allowed to anchor and get these permits done. They do random controls, and if you do get caught, that it's a huge fine. And the
What, like
frustration to have
10,000 euros?
the harbor master come on board.
So it's basically just get the permit and you're fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
all right.
also with the commercial yachts, to making sure that you do your application commercial use form, which is the first Italian port that you enter in. If you have done it from 2021, if you've done it, it doesn't expire. The only time you'd have to change it is if your VAT changes or new ownership.
So, okay. So if I've got for instance, I'm going to have Latitude, my old boat's going to be in the Med this summer, but they're going to be cruising private. They wouldn't, and they're under 47 meters, under 50 meters, under 500 gross ton. They wouldn't need to fill out any commercial stuff if they're strictly for private use.
No, they'd just have to do their constitution. If their flag is non-European, you have to do your constitution, which is you do at your first Italian port, and it's good for 12 months cruising in Italy. And then your last Italian port, you close it off.
Okay, so but you can still go back and forth. You don't have to do that. Yeah, you can go back and forth between France and
No, it's you're in Italy. So every time you exit, they do have an agreement between Corsica and Sardinia because they're so close. But if you're going into France, you need to close it off and redo it when you re-enter in Italy.
So if I go over, so like from Portofino, and I want to go over to Monaco, and then I come back to Portofino, I've got to redo this.
By law, yes.
Okay, and that's even if I'm private.
Yes.
Ugh. Now, is that something that's obviously something that you take care of for us?
Yes, of course.
Okay. All right.
Of course.
Well, they just keep making it more fun. They just kind of suck the life out of the funness. But anyway, enough of this awful regulation stuff, which is what you have to deal with every day. Let's deal with the fun stuff. Let's talk about actually what to do and where to cruise. Now, this is basically a little map that we came up with. You're not going to do a destination. You could do a destination a day on this, but it would be a lot of cruising. This would be like a good itinerary if you had like 2 weeks, two weeks, maybe a little bit more to do. But anyway, let's start with where we're going to start. Now, like when I design an itinerary, I basically have a beginning and an end where I think would make logistically the most sense for the guests to enter, to get on board the boat. Now we're going to talk to where we're going to end is actually be a great place to start as well. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But so tell us about Naples. I've spent a lot of time here in the, I've always stayed in the Louise Marina. I've never been to the public marina. And so Naples, what airports are nearby?
Well, you have the Naples airport, which is city driving between 25-minute drive, which is depending on traffic, of course. Yachts usually, depending on their size, they usually anchor or go into port at Margellina. Margellina maximum length is 75 meters, and then the rest usually stay at anchor. And then you can visit Naples. You have the archaeological tours that we suggest. We have Herculaneum. You can do the historical sightseeing tours in Naples, which gives you the heart of Naples, entering in, seeing the churches. Piazza Gesù, the square, the main square. You can do visits the museum, the street art gallery tour. Sorry. Also famous for the pizza.
Yeah, there you go. That's my favorite part of Naples, right?
Right. We do a wonderful walking tour in the center of Naples, where you get to see all the sightseeing and seeing how the people live, plus seeing the museums, the churches, and then from there you can go and have a great pizza. One of the original pizzerias is Michele,
Yeah.
or you can do it on the waterfront, Sorbillo.
I
Um,
had when what I found when I was based out of Naples on Barasca and with Navita is that it was, if I had iffy weather, it was a great, and I guess coming on board for that first day, we could do a lot of those things. If the weather was beautiful, we would generally take off pretty quick and get out of there. And I like to get them on board and get them to go. But Naples had a lot of options, especially for shopping. But for shopping, I actually like Capri a little bit better than Naples. It's a lot more concentrated. But tell us about now Herculaneum. I've never been to, but you say it's like archaeologically, it's better than Pompeii.
It's not better than Pompeii. It's just smaller and unique. Where you feel that it's more. I like it because it's more comfortable. It's easier to see a lot of information, and Pompeii is bombarded by hundreds and thousands of people. So a bit more quaint, a bit more.
Now, how do
I
you get? Now, how do you just anchor off and you can take your tender right into Herculaneum, or
No, well, you take your tender and you take it to the dock, which is there's two docks in Naples, which you can use Margellina or it's called Rue Palermo. We have a van there. We can drive you up to Herculaneum's, and it takes between 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes to get there. It's a bit of a ride, but worth seeing.
yeah, it seems like it was really neat. I was doing some research on it, and it definitely looked interesting. And then, of course, we talked a little bit about the archaeological marine park, which is there's many different sites. The like I've done the diving that I've done off Italy has been mostly under boats or or lifting. But anyway, I don't get a chance to see stuff like this. But it's really cool the when you're kind of diving in these archaeological sites and there's statues and
Yes,
all
it's the
sorts of neat
underground
things.
city, which is incredible. We set up private tours to do the diving, where the dive company comes out. You can use your tender or their boat, and they do a guided tour of the undergrounds.
Yeah,
Incredible. Especially, well, usually it's done early morning, and the seas have to be calm. Otherwise, you won't see anything.
yeah, no, that definitely sounds like that sounds like a fun dive. And then I always butcher the pronunciation of this, so please you go first.
Of Procida.
Rashida, there you go. I always so, so I no, I've anchored here and I've been in here on the tender. It was years ago, but tell us what's special about this.
Procida, you have now here for anchoring. There's only two spots to anchor, which we give you in full details on where to anchor. They have beautiful small beaches, wonderful restaurants, a very small island, not very touristic, but the people are very pleasant, and they just love the tours coming. Sorry? It's a fisherman's village. So they have little, it's a small little port you can enter in. It's You caught me through here. Usually when they go and see the Coricella, if I pronounced it right, which is spectacular. They have done quite a few films here, famous Italian films that they've done, but it's an island that needs to be explored. Not a lot of guests go there. It's not as popular as Capri or Ischia, but every yacht that has gone on land has it's breathtaking. The church is there, the catacombs beneath the church. We can set up beautiful tours.
Cool. There's another view of it right there. Now, I have to admit, Ischia is always been my favorite destination in this island. I like it. I've spent a lot of time there. There's a lot. I think a lot of stuff to do for the guests. You've got You've got great spas, great beaches, the restaurants, and then if you're gonna buy pottery in the area, there's all those great shops that make all the custom. Actually, I've got some. Actually, I should have got that. I've got to get some Ischia pottery in my kitchen.
No, Ischia is one of our favorite islands because there's so much to do. It is quite large, and here, because of the volcano, the spas are incredible. The hot springs are something to see. The thermal baths, the restaurants that are there. There's also a vineyard, Piera Torcia, which incredible wine. Because of the volcanic soil, there things grow faster than the norm, and so very rich of minerals and all that. So the island is incredible to see. Here you have to remember that it is a natural reserve, so there's no motorized water sports.
Really?
None.
Yeah, that's because it was when I had the first time I discovered Ischia was on board Baraska, the big 56-meter Perini, and like right on the other side, if you look in the slide that we have now, on the other side of that, I anchored right off that
near the Aragonese castle.
Yeah, and
which you're not allowed you're not allowed for the last 3 or 4 years. You're not allowed to anchor there.
It's a great anchorage, and this is a shame because when I took the tender in, what was amazing, it was October. I jumped in the water, and the water was warm, and then my feet, as they sunk in the sand, started getting hot, and the whole beach was like this giant volcanic heated beach, and the water was like a giant hot tub around it.
Exactly. Do you know that there's areas where you can cook underneath the sand?
Yeah.
One of the beaches where we've organized that to have dinner, and they put everything underneath the sand, and it came out incredible.
Yeah, no, it was really neat. That same trip was the Mezzatori is, I think, one of the in the beginning of on the opening of the show at the very end, they show the lights coming. I have a little clip of the lights coming on at the Mezzatori Spa. Just a beautiful, cool location, and I actually brought the mother of the gentleman that I was working for at the time, who owned the Perini. And she was an elderly woman, and we sent her there, and she had her own sandwiches and stuff. And I remember that some of the people at the spa were making fun of her, like, who's this old lady eating her own sandwiches there? And I got so mad that I went and actually got the boat, and I brought it in that cove, and then we sent the tender in to pick her up. And so people were like, who's like, because we look huge there. And she walked down the little stairs and got in the tender. And then I turned that boat around, and I went under full sail, like wing on wing, and sailed out of that bay. If there was a great movie ending, it would have been it. It was one of probably the stupider and cooler things that I've ever done. Anyway, there's the castle there in Ischia.
We set up beautiful tours for that. Also in the gardens, the Ravino Gardens, they're just stunning. Things to see on the island of Ischia. you can spend 2 or 3 days there and still
Easily.
haven't finished the island.
Yeah, easily. The what I liked about when I was working with you there, it was if we needed things from the mainland, which was frequent, the you like again, I just call you and stuff would magically appear whether you put it on the ferry or if we had to send a
On
tender
the
over
tender.
or whatever. It was logistics. What I like about this area is the logistics are really good. If you need anything, you had it to us right away. Now, Ponza again is an island that I've never been to.
Seriously?
Yeah, never. I've been by it, but I've never been there.
No, here, wonderful places to visit. We do a beautiful boat tour, which that have all these caves all around there. You need a guided tour here, where you go and visit each cave around Ponza, which are incredible. We set up a beautiful boat with appetizers, whether it's sushi, fresh fish, depending on what the guests want and need. And they go around the island. It's approximately between half hour, 45-minute tour, but the caves are incredible, incredible. Here, water sports you can do. A lot of yachts anchor out. The island is very, very small. Beautiful sunset. We always send them to the hotel that's up above. I don't remember the name. Give me a second. La Luna, Ponza, Luna, Hotel Luna, where you do a cocktail and see the sunset, which is beautiful. Here, the restaurants we have and Aquapazza, sorry, which are quite famous, based on seafood. A restaurant, right? And here it's a good break, a good swimming area. Also, Ventotene if you're interesting in snorkeling or diving, which is a natural reserve. We do have to get a permit. Not as expensive as Ischia. Depending on your gross tonnage, it can run from 30 to 60 euros. And
That's not bad.
no. And if
Yeah.
guests like to do snorkeling or diving, it's a place to go as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna again recommend that to the owners of Latitude when they come in town. Now, probably the one of the more famous destinations that on this list is obviously Capri, and I've
Yes.
spent a lot of time here.
Yes, a lot. Capri is the number one island. Well, in our area, is the number one spot to visit, where you have the great shopping, nightlife, anchoring, swimming. This year, we've also started doing even like the shoemaker, this famous shoemaker of sandals, Capri sandals. I don't know if you've seen them, where they come on board, or you can go in their shop and they'll do custom sandals for you. Also, with the tours of the three caves, sorry, green, white, and blue. We do private tours as well for that. And you visit the famous Blue Cave, which everybody knows, the Blue Grotto, where they take you inside. You get to see it. And then you have the green and the white caves that you do the whole tour around.
No, I was able to, like back in the day when I had New Vita there, I was able to, we had a tender that was relatively, wasn't tall. And I was able to take my own tender into all those different caves. Can I do that anymore? That's a no.
The Blue Cave, 100% no.
Okay.
the white and the green, depending on the amount of people. Usually what they do is they wait outside, they anchor. For the white and the green, you can swim it in. The blue cave, you must use the authorized boats.
Yeah, I
Due to
think
the
I had.
fact of the swell.
Yeah,
That,
no, I remember that, but just a perfect day, and I think I threw them like a couple €100, and they just let us do our own thing. So, and
oh, I didn't hear you.
okay.
You're not allowed. It's
Oh,
against
okay.
the law.
This is
You
back
can
years
call,
ago.
yeah, well, yeah, of course. But no, we suggest you not to do that.
Okay, all right, and then no, I won't. No, bad. Captain's out there watching. Don't bribe the cave guy.
No, 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 no,
And of
no.
course, that's the anchorage on the backside of Capri. There, a lot of big boats.
Yes. Remember to go slowly and with the water sports, very important because it does get very congested. Um, when you're leaving the boat with the jet skis, go very slowly. Once you're out 500 to a mile out, you can have your fun. But inside, because there's just so many yachts anchored out,
It,
you have
it
to be careful.
right, but one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like usually like on the 50 meters and up, or like 40 meters and up. We're very respectful when we put our tenders in and stuff. It's some 20 or 30 meter Riva or Predator that's blowing through that anchorage, leaving a 9-foot wake, sending a wave
Yeah, no,
up
that
over our swim platform. And that I've seen many times. And I'm
we'll
on a
always
lot
see
of
that.
different,
We
I'm a
we
lot.
try to push the rules and the regulations. The smaller yachts, um, you know, we tell them, but some of them don't listen.
They don't listen. Now, here's one. This is interesting. I've never anchored off of here as well. But you said that this is the best place to anchor is if I'm going if when I want to go to Pompeii, which I think,
Yes,
yeah,
it's 10 minutes away from Castellamare. Um, you take your tender in, always asking for permission to enter into port with the tender. And then from Marina di Sabbia to Pompeii, it's approximately 10-15 minute drive.
that's much nicer because I've done Pompeii out of Naples, and if it's traffic, just trying to get from the marina out until you can get to it is just you're fighting the whole way.
Yeah, depending on the traffic in Naples, it's a bit
Yeah,
hectic. Like if you're going in rush hour where everybody's going to work, you could be in traffic for over an hour.
yeah.
And then you get onto the highway and it's another half hour. With Castellamare, it's quick, it's easy. You go through the port. It's literally 10 minutes away. That
Now you say I've got to get permission to get my tender in there. Just call them on the radio and just
yes,
ask. Okay, so
yes.
that's
And
easy.
in Castellamare over here, depending on the boat size, above 500 gross tonnage, between 500 and 900, you need the pilot, the VHF pilot. If you decide to anchor within the 500, 900 meters from the coast, you need VHF. Otherwise, and if you're above 900 gross tonnage, you need a pilot on board.
Okay,
Usually, a lot of the yachts, larger yachts, stay out between 900 to 1 mile, closer to the to Marina di Sabbia, where it's a bit closer than 1 mile, but you can enter in and save money on the pilot.
yeah. And what's just out of curiosity, how much is the pilot?
It ranges depending on the gross tonnage. It can go from I think 250 to 450.
Well, that's not outrageous.
No, due to the fact because beside Marina di Sabbia is the commercial port,
Okay,
so they need to respect the rules of the commercial port with pilots.
yeah, that's not stupid money though. Now let's talk about Pompeii. Like Pompeii, I personally think that Pompeii is one of my favorite archaeological sites anywhere in the world, and you arranged probably the best tour I've ever had of Pompeii. That guy who gave the tour was fantastic. I've got quick story when we were talking about the inhabitants there, and I had the American family with me, and I brought one of my bosun, who was a South African guy, who was about like 6'2" and just chiseled, and so um, the tour guide said the average size of the person in ancient Rome was about my size. I'm about 5'6" and fairly slim, and Martin says to the guy, he said, would I have been a gladiator back then? And the guy like takes his glasses off and he looks at Martin and he goes, no, you would have been a god. Which it didn't, I mean, his ego exploded at that point. And I remember the women that were with us were all nodding their heads because Martin was a good looking guy. But anyway, it was pretty funny. He's like, nah, you would have been a god. But Pompeii, great site. I could spend a lot of time there. And what I found amazing about Pompeii is after you go to a site like that, the architectural accents right into the courts that are in the walkways or on the passeggiatas are mimicked in modern Italian design and architecture, like right up to the lights that now they're LED that line those same walkways. And you go through areas like actually the nightclub and brothel district was the place that took the least hit. And you're kind of down there and you're like looking at these restaurants that the Romans would go to. And you're like, shoot, I want to eat at this restaurant. Yeah, they were really, it was just such a great site. I've been there a couple of different times. Anything further on Pompeii, or do you have anything you want to add?
Well, we have great guides that do the tours in whatever language you need. And we also have a kid friendly, which is important.
Yeah,
getting more kids out. We have guides that deal with kids that are able to maintain the entertainment.
Yeah, no, the guide that you had for that one, it was funny. The only time I had another guy, you didn't arrange this guide, but when I went to the Vatican, I fired her like 15 minutes into the tour because I knew more about what I was looking at and how to pace the tour than she did. But and I had mentioned that to you, and you were like, no, we got you covered when you come to Pompeii. And yeah, every guide that you've ever got for us, you've really vetted. They do a fantastic job. Yeah, I again won't beat that horse to death, but that tour was made because of the people guide that you brought to us.
No, it's important. The guides are important because they make the tour even better. And there's also in Pompeii where they do a lot of entertainment at night as well. This year we have the honor that Russell Crowe is doing a concert in Pompeii on
Russell Crowe can sing.
Yeah, he's singing. Yeah, so we have tickets as well for this, which is going to be interesting. We've had other singers that have been in Pompeii. There was one, Elton John, John Legend, where they do 1 or 2 nights in Pompeii and have this wonderful concert, very intimate.
Well, the amphitheaters where the acoustics are so good. There's two
exactly.
I can recall. There's a smaller one and then there's a larger one. And I remember that was part of on the tour, because I remember the tour was the guide was down there and he was talking in a normal voice and it was really projected. But to hear Elton John or somebody in a place like that would be pretty amazing. Now, Sorrento.
Yes.
On our next magical mystery tour through the Amalfi Coast.
Sorrento's very, very, it's a beautiful town. A lot of tour restaurants. A lot of people go there for shopping, restaurants, just a bit of a break of the regular tours of like Pompeii or Naples. Usually they go into the small port and then take the lift up and have a nice dinner at at Tasso, and another restaurant, Lorelei and Donna Sofia. Very simple. Here it's 90% all anchoring. Here again, there are a couple of rules entering in for yachts under 500 gross tonnage, commercial and private yachts. There's a small little dock that they have to enter in, which we give the maps, and then they have a designated area for yachts that are over 500 gross tonnage that have the security. Here, big reminder. When you're entering into port, must call the VHF. Otherwise, you could get a fine. You can't just enter into a port because it is a small commercial port. There are a lot of cruise ships. So to maintain a system a bit more easier to enter in and out because it's so busy with people that are coming from a cruise ship or the ferries or even the private little small yachts, the harbor master pushes to use the VHF before entering in and or exiting.
And I'm assuming that's on channel 16?
Channel 13. They dedicated.
Okay, so 13. So 13 then. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know. Now, the next stop on this is Nerano. Now, I've never been to Nerano before, but you said that the food's really good there.
Yes, there's 3 famous restaurants, Quattro Passi, Conco del Sogno, and Scoglio. Incredible food. They're famous for exact plate, La Nerano, which is pasta with fresh zucchinis. Don't ask me how to make it because I have no idea, but it's incredible. It's the best Nerano plate that you'll ever have is there. And they call it La Nerano.
Huh. Well, it's making me hungry already.
Right? Conco di Sogno is a dream. Conco di Sogno, a shell of dreams, which when you're at the restaurant, you feel like you're floating on water. Beautiful, beautiful atmosphere. This year, Conco di Sogno is only open on Friday and Saturday at night. The rest of the week, they're opened only for lunch from 12 o'clock till 6 p.m. They extended their lunch hours, which is important to know.
Okay. So I'm getting the you said this is from Robin McCarty. Can you put some of those restaurants in the notes possible or a follow-up email? Absolutely.
For sure. I can send you after our list of restaurants that we suggest for each area.
That would be great. That would be great. Now, Positano.
It's a nativity scene from the bay. Walking, it's a pedestrian area. Beautiful restaurants, even a small nightclub. Music on the Rocks, sorry. You have the beach club of Villa Trevilla. Beautiful restaurant, San Pietro. Here, everything is just beautiful. It's breathtaking. Shopping, boutiques, very simple. Not the high-end stores, but very particular boutiques that you'll find
the shopping. I'm glad you brought that up. Like if you're looking for brands or flagship brand stores, Capri, 100%.
Capri and Naples, yes.
Yeah, they're there. But where I've done shopping and found some great stuff, like is Positano. I bought a couple of shirts there that I still have. They're beautiful linen shirts. And what was really neat was like kind of tried one on, and this is indicative to Italy, but at the smaller shops, tried the shirt on, and the woman said, that doesn't fit you right. And I said, it's okay, I won't take it. And she was like, no, we'll make it fit you right. And literally took it off and retailored it. She said, come back in an hour, and retailored it right there. It was great. And I still have that shirt. I should have wore it today, but anyway.
Right.
Amalfi.
You have the cathedral, which is beautiful right in the main square. Then you have Ravello up on top, beautiful for the sunset. Villa Schimbroni and Caruso, and even Palazzo Avino. I have the girls here nodding, making sure I'm not making a mistake. We set up, there's also the wine tour if you're interested. We set up a beautiful wine tour that we start off with a helicopter doing the whole area, and then you land near Tramonti, and then they take you in and you do a wine tour and have lunch. It's beautiful.
Oh, those are the showstopper bits to an itinerary that I love, especially when you get people that have never been to the area, or like people that are new to chartering or whatever. You really want those moments that they go, this is amazing. We're going from the yacht to the helicopter, now to the winery, and now we're really can experience Italy in a style that should be kind of like why people charter yachts. It's not just for the boat ride. It's for the experience. And again, back to this area of the world, so many of these great experiences.
Well, we've tried over the years to try to customize the itinerary and always try to find something new to do. Um, so after guests even get a different type of an experience, because our area is popular for the normal usual things, but going, like, we've also created where you can do pottery on board, painting on board. We bring a local artist to come on board and do the view that you see, teach you how to paint. Yoga. Imagine you're at the Farignone at Capri where, it's sunset or sunrise and you're doing yoga. And we try to add new things and events where we build the experience even that much more.
Yeah, and that's what I've always liked about you is that, again, even I was going to, as a perfect segue into giving new charters that great experience, but people that are veterans, is that bringing them to places where they could have done this itinerary 4 or 5 times, but I've always been able to find something new to do, and especially with your assistance. Now that leaves us to our final destination, which is Salerno. Now Salerno is something interesting is going on there. Why don't you tell us about that?
The airport at Ponte Cagnano, which is 10 minutes away, 10, 15 minutes away from Marina di Orecchi, is opening up for the private jets. They should be opened on the 15th of July, where it seems, now this is what we've been hearing and we're hoping to get a confirmation, where they'll move all private jets to this airport, where the guest, it's a smaller airport, so it's not as congested as Naples, and they'll probably get more VIP service at the airport.
That's good to know. So basically, will you be able to bring a jet into Naples, or they're just going to move all private jet traffic?
It all depends on the size of the jet. They want to try to push everything to Salerno just to give a bit of air to Naples, because Naples is very congested and Naples does not have a private area for the guests. So they have to follow the flow. They do have the ground handlers that take them from the door all the way to the jet and vice versa, but you are with the public.
Now,
Salerno's a bit more private where you're not as seen.
so what's the so I assume it's going to be over a 5,000-foot runway then?
I think so. If I'm not mistaken, I don't want to.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
want to
got
make
to
an
be
error.
to handle. It's got to be to handle the big jets. Well, that's great, because one of the things that I always was such a pain was dropping off back in Naples,
Yeah, it's
and
not
then
easy.
trying to fight my way to the airport. Now Why, thank you, Cheese Pixie. I will absolutely send that over. Um, the so Marcia, thanks. This has been a great trip through the Amalfi Coast. If anyone wants to get in touch with Marcia, here's her information. Also, you can email this for us. Her email is info@marciayachting.com. Uh, I've used agents all over the world. Once I find a good one, I never let go. And Marcia, you've been head and shoulders, especially in that part of the world. I wouldn't use anyone else. And I've I've run a lot of boats in a lot of different places, and your service has always been outstanding. So,
Thank you, Sean.
you're super, no, but you're so humble. Even your picture on your website and your little bio doesn't do you justice. It just, I was like, you really need to go to Glamour Shots or something, or like write like a much more exciting bio, because
I know. I need someone to rewrite it.
so now is there anything else, any closing things or any questions? And Ann Landry says hello.
Big hello. Oh my gosh. Big hello, Anne.
And then
If anybody needs anything, of course, we're here to help out in anything. Even if you have just questions on rules and regulations or want some ideas, something new, we're here to assist.
Well, thank you very much. I've got one last little slide that we're gonna. Oh, that's me. If you want to get in touch with me, the is one thing that I want to talk about is this has always been kind of the bane of my itinerary existence, was Florence, because it's too far inland. Even if you're in Viareggio or whatever, what do you do with Florence? Well, a couple of weeks ago, myself and a bunch of other people from Worth Avenue Yachts were invited for a fam trip to the Villa Adore, and we took a lot of great videos. I interviewed the owners. That is going to be dropping probably on next week as the series I do on Italy. From there, I'll do another series on Northern Italy. I'll talk a little bit about Portofino. Pretty much that's my only favorite part of Northern Italy. So I do a whole show on Portofino. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. Marcia, any final words before we leave?
No, we hope to see you, and thank you for having me on the show.
Once again, thank you, Marcia. I'd like to thank everybody at Worth Avenue, Octa for being one of our featured yachts, Car for being a featured yacht, Villa Adore, who we'll be talking to more about, the Yacht Club de Monaco, who fantastic organization, and I'm proud to be part of that, part of the Captain's Club there. And also, too, the New York Explorers Club. Recently, they held an event at the Monaco Yacht Club, and yours truly actually won an award. What's the other side? There it is, right there. That's the other award. But anyway, you can read more about that on my bio on Worth Avenue Yachts or whatever. But anyway, a lot of great stuff. Thank you to Asteria, Dardanella, everybody. We'll see you next time when we're near Florence. Have a